Hello again, and you're very welcome to another edition of Fashion and Lifestyle. I'm Angie Sutherland, and on this week's programme I'll be talking to Tommy Connolly from DT1 Menswear, and also later on the programme we'll have Finbar O'Donoghue from Finbar O'Donoghue Photography. If there's anything you'd like us to feature on the programme, you can email us at drumlinmedia@gmail.com. That's drumlinmedia@gmail.com. So back to tonight, and I'm joined now in the studio by Tommy Connolly from DT1 Menswear. Tommy, thanks for coming in to join us.
Good to be on the show, Angie. Thank you very much indeed.
You're one of the owners of DT1 Menswear. How did you get into the fashion retail business?
Myself and my business partner, Dave Malloy, we worked together for a considerable amount of years for former employer Brendan Young on the main street in Cavan. He was the main man in Cavan for menswear fashion. We learned all our trade there, and in 1999 that man retired, giving us the first opportunity to take the business on, which we did.
Right.
Big step at the time, you know. It's 13 years ago now, and we're very happy now at this stage we made the move, because things are very successful in Cavan for us, and we find now at this stage we're well established.
And for menswear, is it dressy and casual you do, Tommy?
Oh, completely across the board. Everything from very casual to smart casual to formal wear into footwear. So we cover all age brackets, from the very young to the very old, and we treat them all equally.
And I believe that you're one of the largest suit houses in this area, certainly in the northeast or in the
Oh, we
Midlands.
most certainly would. Like to think we are anyway, yes. In the whole of the Midlands, yes, carry about 5 different brands of suits. We can cater for any size, height, width, colour. And we also have fantastic sourcing service across the whole shop.
Right, so you would offer a personal service to any man who comes in, as in measuring for shirts or suits?
Yes, that's our expertise. That's what guys really want, that one-on-one personal touch. Unfortunately, most lads just haven't got a clue, and so they do need that. They do need to come to people like us, independents who know our business.
Yeah.
And we look after customers on a one-on-one basis.
What ranges do you carry in DT1 Menswear?
We carry most of the an awful lot of the European top brands for quality. Obviously, the Germans being the best. Quite a few casual UK brands in the fashion younger end, and across every item you take, a knitwear or a pair of shoes or a suit, we'd have 5 brands almost in every product.
Right, so you do footwear as well?
Footwear is a very big part of the business, fantastic
Right.
part of the business.
Right.
Again, lads just want to come into a store. They basically want to go head to toe. They don't want to come in picking their outfit and go downtown looking for shoes.
Right,
They
so
want
it's a one-stop shop.
a one-stop
for
shop.
Anybody man's going to need for any occasion.
All on the one roof. That's them lads want, absolutely, yes.
Great. And what about your suit you're wearing yourself? Maybe you can talk us through that.
Suit I'm wearing at the moment is a new one for this autumn. It's a shiny fabric from a company in the UK called Toray. A lot of new brands, the fashion suits don't put as much wool into them anymore. Therefore the prices are well reduced. So the price of suits are all well down. Before this there was a large content of wool in suits, which made them expensive. But now most lads can get a suit start now between 199 up as far as 399. 399 seems to be sort of the max, the peak now you get for a suit.
Right.
After that now it's not happening.
And what about 3-piece suits, Tommy, like with the waistcoat, which is lovely and very
Yeah.
smart? Are they still popular?
They're just back as a fashion item at the moment. This actually is a 3-piece suit. I didn't wear the waistcoat this evening because I want to show you off my new blue shirt. But 3-piece, yes, making a big comeback. And again, fortunately enough, because the quality or the wool content of the suit has come down, the waistcoat is now in the suit at much the same price as a 2-piece would have been. So value is now there for all the fashion.
And you mentioned your shirt, so tell us about your shirt.
A big move now in this season to neutral and solid plain shades. A lot of white backgrounds and stripes and that sort of area has moved on to solids. Deep burgundies, rusts, dark greys, royal blue being probably the top 4.
So that's for
new
autumn,
shades.
winter this
for autumn,
year?
winter, just in, yeah.
Right.
Just this new model, so.
Okay. And you also buy a course then for the shop.
Oh,
So
yes.
what's involved in the whole buying process?
We're very lucky now at this stage. Most of the big companies are coming to us with the product. We used to have to travel to London, Germany, Italy to source, but now we established these companies now, and they all have their own show houses in Dublin City. We would visit those twice a year to buy forward. All stock now is bought forward from Europeans and English companies. So we already have bought all our stock for next spring.
Okay.
And at the moment just getting in the autumn, winter, Christmas 12.
And how do you know what to buy in terms of colours or fabrics? Is that just like intuition that you have as a buyer?
That is the hardest part of the business, the buying. I mean, that's it. The day you buy is the day you sell. Whatever you buy on the day, you're committed to it, and the decision you make on that day, it's yours. You have to make that decision. But it's a skill. I think it's something it's in you, the trained eye as such. But it can't be taught.
Mm-hmm.
You know, you either have it or you don't. Unfortunately, we have, and
Great.
we only make a few mistakes.
And how many of you working in the shop with you, Tommy?
In the good old days, when times were good, we had 6, but now we're trimmed back now to 3, and the store can run sufficiently now with 3. We have a part-time at the weekends, which is great, but again, the weekends are not anywhere near what they were. So again, you know, you could get a good Monday, good Tuesday, and Saturday that used to be good, it's gone off the boil. So unfortunate.
Right.
Times have changed immensely.
And where do your customers come from? Are they local or are they from further afield?
Obviously, we've a great local and loyal customer base, but yes, people have travelled a long way to see us. Like, we would be dealing with people in a good 40-45 mile radius of Cavan, so touching the borders of we say Kells, touching the borders of Clones, that area, and people have travelled a long way to see us because we have the goods, we have the want, and we're happy to look after them.
And do you have a lot of repeat business?
Oh God, yes. That's the business you need. I mean, getting a new customer is great. Of course, it's you're meeting somebody new and it's exciting, but you want that person to come back. So you will give them obviously the best service, the best deal you can, and repeat business is the way forward.
Mm-hmm. And we met you recently at the Slieve Russell's wedding fair back in July. Do you do many wedding fairs?
We do the main 4 hotels twice a year. That's the Cavan Crystal, the Kilmore, the Radisson, and the Slieve Russell. And they will have their spring fair and their autumn fair. We will attend all of those. Not normally getting business anymore from on the day directly, but obviously it's a great PR for us. We have to be there, show our wares. We usually have all the clothing in the menswear fashion show on the day, and it's further down the road. We meet up people there on the day, but it's further down the road we get the bookings and the commitments. And
do you do many fashion shows? General fashion shows?
Yeah, not as many as we used to. Again, probably about 10 years ago now, fashion shows were a big outing for a lot of people as somewhere to go, something to do, something interesting. See fellas walk, strutting their stuff on the ramp was always great.
Yeah.
But those days have gone. The fashion shows we do now would be very small, local, community ones. People doing charity events, and if we don't attend them ourselves, we certainly will always give the clothes over and deliver the clothes to them for the shows, and never see anybody stuck.
And would you get much business from fashion shows?
That's of course, that's another publicity stunt, another PR for ourselves. Like, and of course, again, we had a great run there recently. We sent some clothes up to a place outside Kells, and within a month after it, we had 5 people from Kells down to us, which was just fantastic.
Right.
Fantastic.
And is it hard to get male models? For any budding models out there looking in tonight?
Yes, it's extremely difficult. You often get models that are lads who put their hand up and say, yeah, I'll do it, but to us they're no good. They're not models, not model material.
Yeah.
You need to be tall, good figure. You know, we don't need to be short night trousers or have any long sleeves and that. So normally looking for lads that are football teams, rugby clubs, you know, but it's the people who organise the events. It's up to them to get the models, but we'll have to pick them ourselves at the end of the day.
And speaking of rugby, you had a visit from a local rugby star, I think, lately, didn't you?
Oh, he's in Cavan again now recently, I think only last week, but Tommy Bowe visited the store there in January gone by. It was a brilliant day out we had. He endorses a footwear brand called Lloyd & Price, and he is the face of Lloyd & Price. He signatures every shoe, and the new range is just about to come into DT1 at the moment. But Tommy Bowe, a lovely fella. We had a great day out. We had about over 400 people visit the store in a Saturday afternoon.
Right. Were they all women by any chance?
389 were.
To come to see him.
Absolutely, yeah. Big draw.
And what do you do in terms of accessories? I suppose do you do cufflinks or ties?
Oh, we say if you can wear it, we've got it. Everything under the sun: cufflinks, ties, shoes, belts, socks, wallets. And these are the things that make up a fantastic sale at the end of the day. You could sell a suit, or you could sell a shirt and tie for a suit. But a lad might want cufflinks, he wants a new tie, he wants a belt for his trousers, he sees nice shoes, he might need a wallet. Add all that together, that makes a fantastic sale at the end of the day. That's what we love. Yeah.
And you mentioned earlier on, Tommy, just the different colours and shades of shirts that are in now for sort of autumn, winter. In terms of casual wear, what's in?
Casual wear now, we would have probably about 6 of the best brands in the market at the moment, ranging from Voy, with the new youth trendy version from UK. We have Firetrap, big brand, Diesel Ireland, Mishmash, and our biggest of all is Superdry. So again, we'll cover, where the lads are anyway slightly conservative up to very high fashion. We would have all those brands, and we have the latest for them.
So is it still sort of boots and jackets and jeans for the men, or
It's
shirts?
predominantly jeans. This time of the year now there'll be a bit of cords. Shirts have become very, very fashionable. It's probably the biggest item we sell. There will be a shirt for every occasion, and every bottom you sell, you have a shirt for that. So we're delighted with the stock we have. I mean, we know we have the good brands, and we're more than happy with it.
And do you do gift vouchers, or can people come
Yes.
to you for gift vouchers now for Christmas, we'll say, or for Father's Day, or
It's a
whatever?
fantastic idea. We do very well for gift vouchers, and we often, when we're asked for spot prizes ourselves, we will actually donate gift vouchers, which is a better way than giving away a shirt or whatever spot prize. But I mean, once a lad gets his own gift voucher, it's just like a good little bundle of cash. He comes in and he
can buy what he wants.
We're happy to see him.
Right, okay. And you mentioned earlier that you give the personal service of, what looks good, maybe the measurements of arms or legs or whatever, and that's an important part of your business.
Oh, it's extremely important. As I say, the lads come into us, they are looking for that one-on-one personal touch, and look, unfortunately for them, we have the knowledge, we have what they need, in terms of expertise, and they feel very comfortable with us. If they don't bring a female with them to give them the help, then it's up to us. Last chance.
And are all your staff male?
All our staff are male. We used to have one female, but unfortunately she left us, and we work now on 3 gents. Well, I said we used to have 6 originally, but the way times have gone now, 3 will suffice.
And do you think that it's better to have male staff dealing with men's fashions?
Yes, probably maybe thinking a bit old fashioned that way. If you go to some of the stores in Dublin, they're predominantly staffed by females. I don't know whether fellas just won't work in the stores or whatever, but the guys who come into us, or generally speaking the country or Cavan, these sort of towns, we feel they want a male with male as such, and they feel more comfortable.
Yeah. And where is your shop?
We are based, we like to think it's in the heart of Cavan town. It's off the main street in what they call the Tesco Dunstores car park, and beside Odeon Cinema. As I say, it's we have the main car park at the front of us, the multi-storey behind us. So people come anywhere near us, they're parking all around.
Right.
If we were on the main
you're
street,
centrally located and people can park
extremely
nearby
handy,
as well.
extremely handy.
And
Yes.
what's your opening hours, Tommy?
We do 9 to 6 Mondays to Thursdays, and 9 to half 6 on Fridays and Saturdays.
Right.
The late night that used to be 7:30, 8 o'clock, that's no need for that anymore. There's enough hours in the day, and there's not enough footfall to suffice it. So.
Right, okay. And are you planning any more wedding fairs or fashion shows that people can come and see your goods?
Just done the Sleeve Russell there, the last one. The next one is probably about 2 months away. I think it's in the Kilmore. That'll probably be our next one now. And we look forward to them all. They're good. It's a good day out. But I say it's meeting those people, it's meeting that bride and groom, and they're nervous as well. Again, they want to be looked after, they want to be put at ease, and I said that's what we're good at.
Great,
Yeah.
okay. Tommy, thanks very much for coming in, and continued success.
Thank you, Angie. Good seeing you.
And we have to go to a quick commercial break now, but join us when we come back, when I'll be talking to Finbar O'Donoghue from Finbar O'Donoghue Photography. Join us in a few minutes.
I'm Gavin Duffy, and I'm saying watch cavantv.com. It's a great opportunity to see some great programs, and you can watch it all around the globe via the internet and on many platforms. I watch it myself. Great stuff.
Welcome back to Fashion and Lifestyle, and I'm delighted to be joined now by Finbar O'Donoghue from Finbar O'Donoghue Photography. Thanks for coming in, Finbar.
You're very welcome, Angie.
And you brought some of your work, which we'll have a look at later on. So you're based in Cavan. You're
Cavan Town.
operating from a studio here in Cavan.
Yes, top of Bridge Street in Cavan Town, 34 Bridge Street.
Great, okay. And what types of photography work do you do, apart from weddings?
We'd be general photographers. We would do anything that anybody is willing to pay us for, effectively. We would do weddings, commercial work, a little bit of model work, some schools, everything across the spectrum. Whatever anybody wants, we will do.
Okay, and of course you've won various awards as well throughout your own career.
We did. Before we opened the studio, we would have won awards in Kodak, Fuji and IPPA awards. But funny enough, since we moved down to Bridge Street, we got probably too busy to actually bother with awards, with customers coming in, thank goodness.
Great, but it's still a level of excellence so that you can show customers.
It is. It's probably something we'd like to look at again when time becomes available to do that. But
Yeah.
just not at the minute.
So what's your busiest focus, I suppose, at the minute?
Weddings would be our busiest from the studio end of things.
Right.
And then we need to get extra staff, but you have to build this up slowly because everybody wants the photographs taken of a Saturday.
Right.
And obviously if you're busy with weddings, you can't do it on a Friday and a Saturday because you have the weddings. So then you have to sort of build up a business big enough to employ staff that can fill in when you're not there to do the odd portrait.
Mhm.
But I concentrate on all the weddings myself.
Right. And have you many staff, Paul?
We'd have a good few staff in the building, yes.
Okay. And you've also been on location recently as well in Australia. That was a nice job.
That's a few years ago now. Yeah, it was very enjoyable. We didn't have to worry about bad weather,
Yeah.
rain. Locations were picked. We went around with bride and groom 2 days beforehand, and we just picked locations. Where in Ireland you pick a location, and there's always at the end of the conversation, if it doesn't rain,
Right.
you know.
And
So-
was this a couple, obviously, that you knew?
It was a
and
man
that
from
invited
Cavan.
you
and-
out to do it?
Yes, a man from Cavan that I knew, and he met an Australian girl, and they got married out there in a winery. Yes, it's very nice, very pleasant.
Great. And maybe we'll just go through some of the photographs that you've brought in.
Certainly.
So this is a wedding. Where was this now?
This was a wedding, it was a Cavan wedding, and it was back to the Sleeve Russell Hotel.
Mm-hmm.
And I brought this picture along because it kind of shows how girls can bring along little extras to make the photograph a little bit different.
Mm-hmm.
So these ladies just brought along a couple of pair of sunglasses, a couple of brollies,
Mm-hmm.
and it just gave us a little bit of variation of the day. It was a lovely day. They didn't need the brollies at
I
all.
was going to ask, did
Yeah.
it rain on the day?
No, it did not at all. But we had some lovely shots with the brollies. That's just one of the more
Yeah.
posed ones. But then we had a lot of sort of messy, fun shots. And it turned out to be a really, really
Lovely.
nice
And where is
album.
the stone building here that's in the background?
That stone building was actually someplace between Cootehill and Cavan. I'm not actually sure where that was.
Right, so that
It
was
just
en
some-
route to the hotel.
It was en route. Yeah, we just stopped
Okay.
and ran in and did that.
Great,
And then in the hotel we went around all the gardens in the Sleeve Russell.
great. And then this one here as well. This is another nice stone building.
Yeah, that would be actually where we went after that. That would
Right.
be in the gardens. And that's an old kind of monastery door that is built on the grounds of that
Okay.
particular hotel.
Right.
And it's just very advantageous because very quickly you can run in, take a lot of photographs of the bride, and you don't have to be driving to a location 20,
Mm.
30 mile up the road
Mm-hmm.
to try and get a location like that.
So when a bride and groom comes to you then, Finbar, do they ask for your suggestions or do they come to you with suggestions?
We
I
would
know
a-
a lot depends on where they get married and where the reception is.
It would. We'd all ask all them questions first. Where, what time of year, that sort of thing. You know, light, darkness. People come out of the church, maybe a November wedding, and think it's going to be bright.
Mm-hmm.
And then at 4 o'clock they're wondering why we're all going inside with photographs because
Mhm.
it's effectively dark nearly at that stage. But yeah, we'd ask them to look through all the sample albums in the studio, pick out what they like. They might
Mhm.
ask us where the locations are. And if they're en route, we'll try and go to them.
Mm-hmm.
But
Have you had any unusual requests for locations?
not that unusual. Like recently, actually, we've started going to the playground,
Oh.
and depending on the bride, like different brides, different people,
Mm-hmm.
we got some lovely shots actually on the roundabouts and the swings and that sort of thing,
Oh,
which
really?
aren't your normal bridal shots, but they're very amusing. They're very, very good. Turned out really
that
well.
would be unusual. I
Very
would think.
unusual, yeah. But the only thing is you have to chase all the little kids off the swings. So we weren't too popular.
So
down
you're the
there.
big bad
Yeah.
cameraman.
Afraid so. Yeah.
Oh, very good. Okay, and this is a nice one here. Lots of greenery happening here.
Yeah, this will be more your more traditional type of photograph.
Uh-huh.
Bride and groom having a little kiss there, and you can see a beautiful vintage car in the background.
Where was that now?
That was actually in the grounds of the Park Hotel
All right, in Virginia.
in Virginia.
Okay.
And the chauffeur with the car open in the background just kind of lends itself to the picture.
Yeah.
And the bride and groom have a little kiss in the front.
Yeah.
And that would actually be a canvas print
Uh-huh.
that actually is quite nice.
Is there a lot of demand for the canvas?
It's coming back. There wasn't
Yeah.
for about
I'd say 7-8 years, but now the last 2 years it seems to be creeping back in again.
Yeah.
But there are different quality of canvases. There are really cheap canvases that you can get that'll actually lose their colour, and then they're better quality.
Yeah, I suppose you don't want something that's going to fade over time.
The problem. The problem we have is actually trying to get it through to the customer when they're looking at two different prices, and it might be €70 in the difference.
Right.
And we know one is better, and we're trying to tell them, but €70, €70.
So what would something now like that cost, for
You
example?
can get something like that for 195,
Right.
which is very reasonable.
And that'll last you forever.
That'd be one of the cheaper ones.
Oh, okay.
Now that'd be a large one,
Yeah.
and then there's dear ones you go up that are wooden and handmade and put together, nearly like a barrel on by the time they're
Right.
finished.
Right.
So it's whatever people want.
And what about the colour versus the black and white? Is black and white still popular?
Black
for
and white
weddings?
is and always will be, I think.
Yeah.
We've
There's something
often
classic about it.
there
though,
is, isn't there? We've
Yeah.
often liked to do a full black and white album, but there's been no bride and groom brave enough just to go for it.
Just completely black and white.
Completely black and white.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know, maybe with the odd bouquet put into colour on it, you know, through Photoshop, but nothing too strong.
Yeah. And would there be a lot of demand now for mounting them on this? Is this Capafoam or something?
That's very popular.
Right.
That's the most popular.
That's the most popular.
because it's light and there's a heat glaze on the front of that, so if the dust gets on it, you can wipe it off, clean it off.
Right.
It's very easily
Okay.
done.
Okay.
Yeah.
And then as well as the wedding photography, of course, you also do the portraits and you do commercial photography as well.
We do. That's a sample of one of the portraits we've taken. It's one of the more unusual ones in that we've lots of baby shots, all sorts of babies, but it's very seldom you get 4 teenage girls coming like that will allow their parents to get the picture taken,
Right.
because everybody at that age is too cool to get the picture taken,
Right.
and then we might put it in the window, which doesn't help at all.
Uh-huh.
But it's a lovely thing to have at that age. It's probably a time in life that no parents get their kids to have proper professional
Yeah.
photographs taken.
Yeah. So this is 4 sisters.
4 sisters
Oh, very good.
came in, they done a full family shoot, and there are brothers as well in the family, but then they got the sisters taken on their own like that, and it's a lovely photograph.
Great, great. And then in terms of the commercial photography that you do, I know you've done some work for Boyle Sports in Cavan. Who else would you have?
Well, it's
worked
Boyle
for?
Sports actually. It wasn't Cavan. It was Boyle Sports in Dundalk, the headquarters. It was John Boyle actually. We were working through. We done different work. We done video work actually for them as well. We done their training videos. We do videos as well as photography.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, that was very interesting because all their video work, it has to be done when the shops are closed. That's Easter. It's only one day of the year that they
Right.
close. We didn't want to do a Christmas day, so in a day we have to shoot everything, the whole training video.
Right.
Start late that night, 11 o'clock, shoot right through.
Mm-hmm.
That's the only day.
Mm-hmm.
Good Friday.
Mm-hmm. And I suppose then in terms of, we met you a few weeks ago at the Sleeve Russell, the wedding fair.
Yep.
Do you do a lot of the wedding fairs?
We do in this area. We do the main wedding fairs. We do the Sleeve Russell, the Radisson Farm Hotel, Cabri Castle, Crover House, Cavan Crystal. We do the main venues.
Mm-hmm.
We tend to stick to them because we don't want to be dragged too far afield, because in the middle of summer if you get 3 in a row and you might end up in Kildare and then maybe going 20 mile the far side of Kildare and then you have to come back to Cavan. You know, 3 days in a row it begins to wear you out a little bit.
And would you do like anniversaries and christenings and all sorts of occasions as well as weddings?
Absolutely everything, Angie.
Mm-hmm.
We had a strange requested wedding there recently. After the meal, the couple actually and all the guests went up and got into fancy dress.
Very
And as
good.
they all came down, we were waiting with the cameras to get the reaction
Yeah.
of the guests as they walked in. Not so much the guest walking in, the reaction of the guests looking at the fancy dress walking in. So yeah, that was really fun. We enjoyed that. They enjoyed that. It worked really, really well. So it did.
Yeah, yeah. And you were telling me earlier on before we came on as well, Finbar, about your grandmother was probably one of the first female photographers.
She was. I'd have actually drifted into photography a little bit. It's not what I started out doing, but I drifted into it. And I'd say I probably had shot about maybe 500 weddings one day, and my dad said, "Do you know your grandmother was a photographer?" And I went, "No." Of course, Dad being Dad, didn't think he'd mention it to me. But when he investigated a little bit further, we found that she was one of Ireland's first lady photographers. And she came from Westmeath, and her name was Minnie O'Connor. And she came up here and married my granddad, and he was Donoghue. And she opened up a studio then in Cavan Town in 1910. And then her sister joined her in the studio. So they actually ran the studio, and strangely enough, we've only found out in about the last 10 years that the number of their studio in Bridge Street was 32 Bridge Street, Cavan. And by pure chance, we moved into 34 Bridge Street, Cavan. We only bought that property 7 years ago.
That's a big coincidence.
Huge coincidence, yeah.
So it must have been in the blood somewhere back.
Must have been there a little bit, yeah. Yeah.
And you mentioned earlier about your video services as well that you do.
Yeah, we do video for the weddings. We do video for everything again, whatever anybody wants. We do a video for them.
Right.
We get a lot of that through the photography. People just come in and book the video.
Mm-hmm.
And it's something we reckon we could grow a little bit of. We've probably neglected it a bit because photography is going so strong. But my son Ryan looks after the videos now, so maybe he'll push that on a bit because I've been a bit lazy in that department.
Right. And just for our viewers, are you attending any more wedding fairs locally?
They'll be coming up around January. It'll be the same 5 that I mentioned earlier.
Right. And going back to your main photography, which is wedding, do couples come to you through word of mouth, or how do you promote yourself apart from the wedding fairs?
It's a complete mix. Most of our weddings will come through a recommendation, word of mouth, where if you do a good job for a family, they'll recommend it to their sisters and cousins, etc. The internet is huge, of course. Unfortunately, with the internet, you don't know where the call is coming from. And as I say, we don't like to get dragged too far away, more than 100 mile. Not saying we wouldn't take it of a wet Wednesday, but we like to keep it as local as we can. And we would have a fairly good name in the area for customer service and that sort of thing.
Right, okay, that's great. And I suppose then it's great when you get the repeat business, then, you know, one couple has had you and then somebody else, maybe a sister or a brother or whatever, will come back to you. So it's great.
They do. And not only that,
business.
They all have kids, and then they all want little kiddies photographs, so they tend to come back in for that too. And if you do a fairly good job and you look after them and you're not overpriced, people are fairly happy. And the prices recently have just got so reasonable, where it's really, really good. What I would say to anybody listening was, whether they be booking us or not, that be sure they use a professional photographer, to be a qualified member of the IPPA.
Right,
that's the Irish Professional Photographers Association.
Okay.
Because in times of recession, the most start-up business in any economy is photography, because most people with a camera think they can take a good photograph, and if money's tight, they'll end up doing weddings. And there are a few disaster stories out there of people trying their hand in it and it going badly wrong.
I'm sure. And how can people find out about you then? Have you got a website, Finbar?
They can go on our website, O'Donoghue Photography. They can call into the studio. And funny enough, somebody's a little bit doubtful in the call in, because obviously whoever you called is going to show a lovely album and things like that. We'd actually ask where they're from. We try to give them an name of a bride who have used us in the past, and we'd say go talk to them. Right. Ask what the experience is like. Don't take our word for it. Take their word for it.
Great. Okay, so that's www.o'donoghuephotography.ie.
Correct.
Great. Finbar, thanks very much for coming in and for bringing in all your shots to us. Thank you.
Thank you.
Well, I'm afraid that's all we have time for this evening on Fashion and Lifestyle. I hope you enjoyed the programme, and I want to thank my guests Finbar O'Donoghue and Tommy Connolly from DT1 Menswear for joining me here in the studio. And if there's anything that you'd like us to feature, events or topics on the programme, you can email us at drumlinmedia@gmail.com. That's drumlinmedia@gmail.com. Next week we'll be having one of our Women In features, and it'll be the Women in Business feature on the programme, and I'll be joined by Geraldine MacDonald from Abbey Set Print and Design, and also Aisling Hayes from Aisling Hayes Solicitors will be joining us. So until next week, take care and thanks for watching.